The time of important people is a precious resource. I'm sure you're needed elsewhere. Captain, you must proceed with your testimony.
As were Miss Sinon's requests.
I hope you're confident in your friend's scientific prowess, because I remain skeptical. If I ever see another heat leech, it'll be too soon. Though the captain's marauding around the Freestar Embassy made for a less than unanimous agreement.
This is insane! She set this up!
Thus far, the response has been mixed. As though the captain isn't any place to speak on the topic of good behavior with the collective. After what you did at the embassy, it's simply harrowing. Well, at least our perpetrator won't be hurting anyone else. A good find, Captain.
It's a goodwill effort. The Vanguard sacrifices a lot to keep us safe, but if they're always out on the border regions, people tend to forget that. No, not really. The mission parameters for volunteers are broad on purpose, and it's not like we can just pick up the phone and call him from light years away.
I hope this terramorph data ends up being worth all the headaches you've created for my group. And fast results always lead to the best outcomes, don't they?
Volunteer Moera is currently conducting a patrol in the Sol system, making sure the dark sides of the moons and planets there aren't hiding anything.
Very well. I consent. The galaxy was lucky you were here today, Captain.
Clearly, he made his own access, Chief Sarkin. Only if these claims are to be believed. We were all lucky you were here today, Captain. Oh, yes. Let's create a contagion, shall we? They'll call us heroes. Madam President, I have been saying for years that not dealing with that man was going to end in tragedy, informing them of the risks we're all facing. And that the UC has a plan to prevent what happened on New Atlantis from happening elsewhere. They've been happening for generations.
And I assume you won't tell me what that object is.
You must be joking. Hadrian's data. And we're just going to let this rogue science project unlock Pandora's box? I cannot in good conscience let that happen.
Bolder, better, and brighter. Well, I need to write that one down for later. You want us to make nice with the collective by sharing our weapons technology? That point is a good one. Very well, you have my agreement. The galaxy is lucky you were here today, Captain. The Interstellar Affairs Office will do whatever it takes to keep more terramorphs off our doorsteps.
And that the UC is leading the charge and setting things right.
Thus far, the response has been, on the whole, positive. Yes, Madam President, I was. I object to the very premise of this meeting. Ensure peoples throughout the galaxy are aware of the threat and how to deal with it. It's hard to do this job day after day and not come away from it increasingly cynical. I'll do my best, but it's hard.
You and I are in agreement, Captain. Because for me, there is one outstanding question.
A deliberate attack. I can't believe it. Well, I am not. I've heard nothing here to convince me that we should do anything but wait. And I will not risk galactic peace on a question of if. Yeah. I'm familiar with this tactic. Remain silent, make your adversary uncomfortable so he gives up ground.
Chief Diplomat Yasin, United Colonies Interstellar Affairs. It's a pleasure.
That is a compelling point. Believed. So you're asking us to release banned weapons technology and possibly upset the balance of post-war peace on a hunch.
I will not be made the villain here for wanting to prevent some rogue science project from reopening Pandora's box!
Fear of sudden attacks has proven a strong motivating factor. Madam President, this microbe is clearly too much of a risk. The Aseles are the safer approach.
And what? We're just going to blindly follow the demands of a military branch project gone rogue?
Legally, he owns it, whatever it is. But fine. You want to waste fuel on the trip? Go ahead.
Exactly right, ma'am. That is an idea with some merit to it. Decrease the likelihood of anything like this occurring again, and further relations between our two factions. We expect to encounter some intransigence, but our office has plenty of carrots and sticks to ensure the program's widespread adoption. I knew we should have sent a real diplomat to the embassies. I told you, keeping that man around would cause nothing but problems.
Military operations are classified, Sarah. I can't tell you anything.
I suppose that does get to the heart of the point, doesn't it? The spirit of mutual cooperation displayed between the UC and the Freestar Collective in managing the terramorph data set a good tone for the work we're doing, Captain.
Sarah? Still managed to find ways to catch me off guard. How long has it been?
I hope this terramorph data ends up being worth all the pain you've inflicted.
Even if I told you, Vanguard volunteers have a license to keep whatever spoils they find from valid military targets. You're out of luck.
No need be delving into unpredictable sciences. Is this an attempt at an intimidation tactic? 'Cause it's not working. I'm in full agreement. While no one would argue that what happened on Tau Ceti was anything less than a tragedy, terramorph attacks are not some sudden new threat on the horizon. If we're doing it via a microbe, then yes, there's certainly risks. It's no secret that at any given time, I have 3 ambassadors who all want completely opposing things from the United Colonies. I couldn't agree more, Captain. There's too much at stake for us to act hastily.
This can't be happening.
If dealing with you is the cost of preventing more terramorph attacks, so be it. He's a sociopath. Plain and simple, ma'am. But not zero.
An attack. Now. Here? Oh, this can't be...
I will not be made the villain for wanting to prevent some rogue science project from opening Pandora's box.
Oh, yeah. All the risks of the microbe and a final generation of terramorphs still on the prowl. They'll call us heroes, I'm sure. This is classically done from the other side of the table. No, the captain is precisely right. We could hardly be expected to make a galaxy-affecting decision on such scant evidence. We should have dealt with Ve Victus years ago. The sooner this is all dealt with, the better. Seems at best panic. And at worst, a power grab by the daughter of a bloodthirsty warmonger and her associates.
For a reason, Sarah. You never understood how much damage UC-sponsored exploration was doing to the peace.
Having Freestar observers oversee the terramorph research could be a good step towards better relations with the collective. I simply cannot believe it. It seems you two were right to be concerned. My God. Very well. I consent. The galaxy was lucky you were here today, Captain. Tell the Freestar Collective. Why? So they have another tool to utilize against us? So, you want us to make nice with the collective by sharing our state secrets? Well, don't just stand there. Get back up on the dais. These sentinels are making an already demanding job more difficult. I wish they wouldn't meddle in affairs best left to governments.
That's classified, but draw your own conclusions. You've clearly been there.
I can only imagine what the Freestar Collective will think when they hear about this. The Asyles was the wise choice. Fewest possible points of failure.
This is ludicrous. One terramorph on one planet does not make a galaxy-ending plague.
We'll also be initiating a knowledge-sharing and outreach program.
Of course, I forgot about the on-the-go attitude Constellation always has.
I heard you met Mast's resident ghost, eh? A grave mistake, if you ask me, keeping him around. I just hope he wasn't too cruel to you.
Are we really willing to risk upsetting the balance of post-war peace? What her report clearly states is unsubstantiated evidence.
I believe there's still more to cover. Major Sinan and Dr. Walker ain't with you.
You can't, because it's the simplest explanation. And I in good conscience will not let some cast-off science project manipulate all of you into letting her restart a war she already lost once.
We all have our tasks, Captain. Best we get to 'em. Conversations require participation from both parties, you know. Getting the Freestar Collective to play ball with the archives. I had my doubts, but you handled it deftly. Precisely. We could hardly be expected to make a galaxy-affecting decision on such scant evidence. To demand we hand over banned archival knowledge and possibly upset the balance of galactic diplomacy because of a single attack. There must be another explanation. The creatures evaded our scanner somehow. I'll make sure the diplomatic machine is ready to serve once you've saved the city.
Fine, but you two are just going to waste fuel on the trip. Ah, there's that always on-the-go attitude I've gotten so used to from Constellation.
I'm busy enough cleaning up after your bungling at the embassy. I don't need you hovering over me.
We're being asked by the daughter of a warmonger for access to banned weapons technology.
A claim which we can't verify without opening the archives.
Can you be positive that the terramorph wasn't transported there?
It's in all our best interest to set aside differences and try to work together as much as we can. It does, doesn't it? All right. I withdraw my objection. Let us Trust fate. When the galaxy learns the truth about heat leeches, they're gonna be begging for our help. And we have plenty of tools to convince the stubborn. Thus far, the response has been overwhelmingly positive. We are considering upsetting the balance of post-war peace, handing over banned data to the daughter of a bloodthirsty warmonger and her associates.
Sarah was my assistant director back when I was in charge of the Navigator Corps.
What are you doing here? You know how this is done. We're already on it. The Interstellar Affairs Office already has a plan in place to deal with the various territorial and diplomatic concerns that may arise from whichever solution we choose. Captain, we're counting on you. A sound decision, Madam President. Sometimes it still amazes me that we managed to make it off of Earth without just up and destroying ourselves.
I apologize. I was trying to say that I enjoyed our work together, and I'm happy to see that Constellation's membership has expanded.
Your earlier points, though, Captain, were compelling. I believe I can give my consent. The galaxy's lucky you were here. It'll be hard work. Harder than it needed to be. But our office has plenty of carrots and sticks to ensure the program's widespread adoption. You were saying, the UC's success and security depends greatly on positive relationships with our neighbors. Some of us can lose sight of that.
Ensure peoples throughout the galaxy are aware of the threat, how to deal with it.
We expect we'll hit some resistance, but our office has plenty of carrots and sticks to ensure the program's widespread success, creating some Franken microbe to wipe out the Terramorphs. Well, I'm glad you saw the obvious issues with that plan as well. The occurrences at the Freestar Embassy during the recovery of the Terramorph data has left many doubting the UC's good intentions. What you did down at the Freestar Embassy. If it were up to me, you'd be in jail. The Interstellar Affairs Office has already begun reaching out to worlds throughout the settled systems. That's quite the leap, Captain. Oh, I'm sure she did.
Oh, come now. Not going to at least introduce me to who I can only assume is Constellation's newest member. Good luck out there, you two. I'll remember this little favor the next time we negotiate over star charting rights.
Madam President, I object to the very premise of this meeting, based on a single shred of evidence.
In particular because there is another, much clearer answer here.
And that the UC is leading the charge in setting things right. I would like to begin in this geological era. You all called this meeting. Now, I would like to finish it. I'll issue the order immediately.
The captain's valor is, of course, beyond reproach. But I did have an additional question.
I've tried telling Sarah before. You have to keep the small niceties. You should see her trying to thank someone.
That, madam, is most certainly the plan.
You can't be serious. Are we going to take the word of some outcast military science project?
Vanguard.
Touché, but it's not possible. Even if I told you Sentinels have a license to keep whatever spoils they find from valid military targets, you're out of luck.
Just taking her word for it as well, then.